177. Can you not hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. Go ahead, man.
Oh, hey, sorry. Yeah, welcome to Motor City Uncut, episode 177, presented by the Major Sports Network. I am Dorf, your host, joined each and every week by Major Sports Network founder Adam Hernandez and Shawn Bell. And as if you can tell by my lack of knowing if I could be heard or not, I am not in studio. I am on a work trip in Ontario, Canada, doing the show from a hotel. Anyway,
you gotta sound like we're official, man. You gotta say like I'm on assignment or something.
Yeah, I'm on assignment to search for a minor league hockey player in the OHL.
On assignment to the great frozen tundra of rainy, slushy Ontario, Canada. It got to like 55 degrees today.
Oh, really? Were you wearing shorts?
50 guys. I thought about it. 55 degrees Fahrenheit or whatever. I'm bad at the math conversion on that or whatever, but a lot better than it was less than a week ago here when it was 20 below or whatever. So, a 70-degree switch in temperature in just 6 days is pretty intense. But fresh off the Super Bowl, the Lions, your Detroit Lions here, folks, are the winners of the Transitive Property Super Bowl after defeating the New England Patriots in the regular season 26-10. Therefore, they win everything, and the Lombardi Trophy will be mailed to Ford Field. It's expected to arrive tomorrow. Just kidding. Cancel your reservations and cancel your time off requests so you can go down to the parade in Detroit because it ain't happening. So, isn't that the ultimate kick in the balls after a disappointing season here that you beat the world champs?
you don't only beat them, you destroyed them when you played. You beat them by 16 points.
Yeah, they ran that game start to finish, up and down. Just whooped on the Patriots the whole time. But then you also played the Rams in the season, and you got your dick kicked in. But.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty, that game. Wasn't it like close the first half, but then the second half came out, the Rams just manslaughtered the Lions?
Yeah, it was close at half. I think it was a one touchdown game at the half. But
yeah, then, and then they ended up winning like 30-16 or something like that.
I think Todd Gurley scored 3 times in the second half and ran for like 150 yards, and that was ball game.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we shouldn't totally discredit that Lions loss to the Rams, because everything that happened after that, and Bill Belichick said it last night that he used that blueprint from the Lions' loss to the Rams as part of his game plan for last night, because I mean, last night was an incredibly boring Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's any denying that. But what the Patriots shut down Jared Goff.
Yes, they did.
And when you look at the game logs and everything from this past season, well, that game in particular, I think it was week 13 that the Lions ended up playing the Rams. And yes, Jared Goff did have a lot of garbage points at the end. But for the most part, the Lions kind of, they did expose the Rams a little bit during that game. Not to mention it's something that I don't think just the Patriots took and put, kind of in their back pocket for last night, but it's something that a bunch of other teams took as well. I'm looking at this.
I mean, if you look at what the Patriots did all night, they played complex zones and blitzed the shit out of him.
Yes,
and lots of up the middle pressure. The Rams' offensive line caved in the middle. They didn't get a lot of edge pressure, but at the same time, they attempted a lot of long developing play action, and Jared Goff could never look past his first dump off option because there was so much pressure in his face that perfectly executed game plan.
Well, we have something up on Detroit.themajors.net regarding this, but I'm going to try to remember from what was written on there. But up until week 13, the Rams, Jared Goff threw for 300 yards or more in every single one of those weeks except for 4 of them. And one of those weeks against Green Bay, he threw for 295. So he was 5 yards short of that 300-yard threshold there. And he was also pretty much a given to throw more than one touchdown. He's a multiple touchdown quarterback up until week 13 for the most part. Again, you sprinkle in a couple of games here and there that he didn't. He might have had one, or I think in some very rare circumstances he had 0. After that, not only did the Rams go on a 2-game losing streak, because they lost 2 straight. They lost against the Bears that following week after playing the Lions, and then they lost against the Eagles the week after that, 15-6 and 30-23 respectively. After that game, after that Week 13 game against the Lions, and this includes the playoffs, Jared Goff only threw for over 300 yards once. And that was a win, I believe, against... I believe it was the win over the Eagles in the playoffs. And he only threw for more than one touchdown once. And that was... the final week of the regular season against the 49ers. He had 4 touchdowns against the 49ers that week. So, playing the Lions that week, something happened. Something happened against Detroit that week where the Lions, again, make all the jokes that you want to make about Detroit and, you know, how bad of a football. And they were a bad football team this year. There's no doubt about it. But the Lions did something that week where... It exposed some game film on Jared Goff in that Rams' offense, and this isn't something. This isn't some anomaly or anything like that. I mean, it's not like there wasn't game film on Goff and the Rams prior to this. I mean, it was week 13. It's not like this is week 2 or week 3 or something like that.
If you want I just found the Belichick audio. If you want to play that on air, it's about 30 seconds long. I just messaged it over to you.
Yeah, I'll see if I could get it.
One thing I have to say about that, like with the Lions game against the Rams, to me, like this is my opinion that, you know, they showed who Jared Goff is. Yes, he's very, very, very good at play action, but when it comes to drop back 5 yards and try to throw, he struggles.
If you can't run the ball, play action doesn't matter.
Right. So that showed them that if, like we said, you know, the first half of the game, they weren't running on the Lions either. It was that second half of the game where they, you know, Todd Gurley exploded. So it showed you right there that Jared Goff is good at play action, and then obviously, you know, dropping back 5 yards, he's not that good.
Well, I think Jared Goff, he's an excellent quarterback. He's an excellent young quarterback, and I mean, this is just an instant where you have one of the masters of the game in Bill Belichick taking something. I mean, because, I mean, Dorf said it before, everybody said this before, that you give Bill Belichick 2 weeks to prep for a game, the Patriots are...
He doesn't lose.
Yeah, the Patriots are going to beat almost anybody. But, I mean, you take something like this, and I have the audio here right now. Let's see if we can go ahead and play it.
Well, we just felt like we had to put something together that would neutralize the running game and their big play action passes on early downs. That's really where they've killed people all year, is the 120-some explosive plays that they've had. So we felt like if we could, you know, make them drive it, make them earn it, similar to what the Lions did to them, to make them, you know, just run a lot of plays and get them in third down. We felt like we'd have a chance to get them off the field on third down. And, you know, ultimately we were able to do that. And really the play of the game defensively was the blitz. When Brian Flores called the blitz, and Gilmore played the play perfectly and just went up and high pointed the ball, and that was obviously a big play for us in the game.
Now, obviously, hold on. Obviously, I mean, maybe Belichick is throwing his boy Matt Patricia a bone there, and trying to dish out some credit.
I can't even say that. He's never done that for anybody else.
No, and you're right, Dorf. But to add on to that too is, I mean, the proof is in the statistics, is in what happened after Week 13 with Jared Goff in the Rams. So people could deny that all they want, but something happened that week where the Lions defense was able to expose them a little bit.
The Lions coaching staff saw something, and they were able to. They wrote the playbook on how to. At that point, weren't the Rams something like 11-1? Only losing to the Saints up to that point?
Yeah. Yeah.
They wrote the book on how to. The Saints just outgunned them. That was a lot of scoring in that game, but the Lions wrote the book on how to shut them down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and obviously, this is why the Lions couldn't end up winning that game. That just goes to talent. The Lions weren't talented enough to win that game, and that's fine. That's more talented teams are going to win out more often than not in the NFL, but it's right there. I don't think Bill Belichick is simply just throwing Matt Patricia a bone there and trying to turn a bad season into something good for his for his former defensive coordinator. But like I said, it's the proof is in the statistics. Just go look at Jared Goff's numbers after Week 13. Look and you'll see that something happened there. Something definitely happened, and maybe this is something that the Lions can, Lions fans and the Lions in general can take heading into next season. I know we're kind of joking about that transitive property here, and it is. That's anybody, anybody trying to hang any type of positivity on that is, you're ridiculous. But this is something to possibly take a look at and be like, hey, you know what? Maybe we do need to give this thing a bit of a chance here and roll with it a little bit. Because when you go back and look at it, and we've talked about this before as well, the Lions, just from a talent perspective, just weren't that good last year. No. They really didn't have it.
No. Despite they came up with the dominant X and O's game plan, but their Jimmies and Joes weren't as good as everybody else's.
And they got one of their best players on defense at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Snacks.
Yeah, they got Snacks.
The fact that Snacks wasn't a Pro Bowler is a crying shame. And that kind of leads us into our next topic here, guys. Eric Ebron was it Dave Burkett that he did an interview with, if I remember correctly?
I believe so. I can bring that back up.
If you want to bring that up for some quotes, that would be rich. But at the same time, Eric Ebron joins a list of former Lions to go on to have success elsewhere, despite a lack of success here in Detroit. Made a Pro Bowl, led the league in touchdowns this year.
Yeah, it was
second in the league in touchdowns.
Sorry, second in touchdowns.
I would say Antonio Brown.
Ooh. I would say, did Brown pass him? Okay.
Yeah, by I think it was 1 or 2 touchdowns.
Anyway, led all tight ends in touchdowns. He was third in yards, if I remember correctly. Mm-hmm. And just had a 1,000-yard year. Got in the end zone, I think, a dozen times. Did a pretty nice interview, despite his widely negative interactions with fans on Detroit social media and during his time in Detroit. Had some nice things to say about his time in the Lions and about just football in general in his interview, and that just kind of surprises us.
Well,
sadly.
He went out and he said, he was asked, what his success led to, what was it that led to his success this past season, and he said all I had to do was get away from Detroit. That's it. Now, that might sound like a slight towards the city, but it wasn't. He goes on to say you gotta commend what the city is. It's a hardworking city. Everyone's out there trying to get it, and they know what they're about. And he said, "Give me a clearer mind. It gave me a clearer conscience." So he doesn't go on and bash the team. He doesn't go on and bash Stafford or anything like that, like Ndamukong Suh did a couple of weeks ago or I think it was just prior to the Week 13 game against the Rams. But he didn't go out there and he didn't bash anybody. He didn't bash the city. He didn't really bash the Lions organization because he obviously needed to get away from Detroit. Nothing was going to happen for him here, and he went on to Indianapolis, and he ended up having, what looks to be the start of a really good NFL career for himself. And quite frankly, that's what we were expecting to have him be here in Detroit. Mm-hmm. It didn't work out. Now, from the look of it, standing from where we are right now, that doesn't appear to be Ebron's fault. It appears to be entirely, the Lions' fault, the organization's fault, on why they couldn't tap into what he
What turns
ultimately
out to
was.
be exactly the physical talent that they thought they were getting when they drafted him.
Yeah, I mean, why couldn't the Lions? Why couldn't the Lions do that themselves? Why couldn't they tap into that? Why is that something that Indianapolis can do and the Lions could? I don't know. But this isn't the first time, and that kind of goes along with this overall topic that we bring up right now.
Well, I mean, it's not unique. I'm sure this isn't unique throughout sports. I'm sure that if you actually sat down and did a detailed study on it, that you'd find that there's a shit ton of players that don't do well in one spot and do great in others. But it hurts because it was a first-round pick. Oh, by the way, in the same draft that the Rams drafted Aaron Donald a couple picks later.
Didn't we trade up to get that draft pick too for Ebron?
No.
Or what one am I thinking of?
They traded up to get a lot of second-round picks, but they haven't traded up in the first round.
They traded up to get Javid Bass.
Yeah, is that the same draft?
Yeah.
Or no?
No.
No.
Javid that was Javid's way before that.
Several.
Yeah.
They traded back into the first round because they had already had a first-round pick that year to get Javid Bass.
But you know what, though, Dorf? It's not just Ebron. I mean, last night we were watching Kyle Van Noy going.
Oh yeah, that hurts too.
Going and
plays.
making plays for the Patriots, and now he's been to 2 Super Bowls since he left.
He's got 2 rings.
Yeah, he's got 2 rings.
Actually,
yep. Is it 2 rings?
Yeah.
Yes.
Does he have 2 rings?
Back to back.
Yeah. Is they won last
Back to
year?
back.
Did they?
Yeah, but they didn't win last year.
Oh, that's right. They didn't win last year.
Oh, they won the year before that.
Yeah, but I don't.
He was on the Lions the year before that,
Yeah,
so he's gone twice and he's got a ring.
Yeah. So.
Also, a second-round pick.
And then, obviously there's Ndamukong Suh, but everybody knew what Ndamukong Suh was, and he certainly was, really good when you played with Detroit. It's just, they didn't have the money. They didn't have the money to keep him, and I'm glad they didn't keep him. I'm still glad they didn't keep him, but yeah, like I said, it hurts. It definitely does hurt seeing guys, especially like Kyle Van Noy too. I mean, second-round pick, guy did, jack shit while he was here. But he goes to New England, and they're able to tap into something and get something out of him. And
it's because, I mean, if you look at, there was several, I forget what it is, there's like a former scout that's now on ESPN or something like that said, Kyle Van Noy, when I scouted him or whatever, I viewed him as a blitzer, not an edge rusher. Like, the Lions tried to turn him into an edge rusher instead of using him what he's good at as a run stopper and a blitzer. And that's exactly what the Pats have used him as. And what do you know? He's hella productive. Like, they miscast him, they misscouted him, thought he would be a great edge rusher, and he never turned into that.
You see, but that's the big question, though, is why don't the Lions, why don't they ever, because it always seems like they're stuck thinking within the box with this type of thing. They get a scouting report on a guy, and they don't do anything extra with it. They don't go and they're like, okay, well, this isn't working with this guy, so let's try and do something completely different with him.
Well, current ownership, values yes men and people, I mean, hell, how long did Matt Millen and God, I've already forgot his name, the guy that was prior to Bob Quinn.
Oh, Martin Mayhew?
Yeah, Martin Mayhew. How long did they have jobs despite lack of success?
Oh, I know.
I mean, how long? Rod Marinelli almost kept his job after an 0-16 season. Like, Jesus, like this, that family doesn't value being competitive. I mean, if that's the expectation, then people don't demand success. You're not going to get it.
And I hate saying that too, because I always kind of scoff at the feeling or the notion that the Lions don't care about winning. The ownership doesn't care about winning. I do think that they care about winning. I don't think the Lions go out there or the ownership goes out there saying, you know what, I don't really care if we finish last or we don't do anything this season once again, just as long as we're making that dollar bill. I don't think that's the case with them. I just think that I just think that they're too loyal. Mm-hmm. They're loyal to a fault when it comes to a lot of people within the organization who, quite frankly, shouldn't be there anymore.
Yes.
They hold on to people way too long. And
well, I mean, if you look at it, like, look at all the coaches that they've hired. How many of there's never been a head coach of the Lions that ever got a second chance of being a head coach in the NFL. There hasn't.
Well,
yeah.
Jim Schwartz has come close.
He's come close. I mean, they've had. I mean, Dick Duran.
Jim Caldwell.
Yeah, I would say
Jim
Caldwell
Caldwell
maybe he has a chance.
Jim Caldwell's been out of work for a year. He still doesn't have anything.
Yeah. He interviewed with the.
He's consulting. He's consulting with the XFL.
Yeah. They did. I believe Dick Duran, when he was an intern with the Lions, he ended up. And I think he had a job with the Bills.
The caveat is a permanent head coach.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, I think Jim Schwartz might end up getting another head coaching job somewhere in the league.
Yeah, I mean, he's interviewed for it, 3 years in a row and not gotten anything.
Yeah,
so you never know.
I mean, Caldwell could be another guy that could end up getting one of those jobs. But
there's another guy that everybody thought that was the greatest thing since sliced bread and should have had the job here in Detroit. Terrell Austin. Oh, by the way, got shit canned less than his first year in Cincinnati.
Yeah. Yep. No, you see that a lot. Who was the other guy that the Lions fans wanted over Jim Caldwell? Oh, Ken Wisenhunt.
Yeah, Wisenhunt. Yep.
And he ended up
lasting a year and a half.
Yeah, he ended up lasting. He didn't have the shelf life that Caldwell had. And again, I hate making that comparison because we're talking about the Lions and Caldwell and shit like that. But
Caldwell was overall, I think, 4 games over 500 as a Lions head coach.
He had a winning record with the Lions.
It's the highest winning percentage of any Lions head coach ever.
Yeah, the problem though is I don't know. I don't want to get into
it's a pretty low bar to hurdle.
That's a whole different conversation.
I don't want to get into a should they have kept Caldwell conversation, but well, speaking of coaches too, did you see what happened in Dallas?
No, what? Oh yeah, Kellen Moore's now the OC.
Okay, well they fire Scott Linehan.
Yep.
Former Lions offensive coordinator,
and hired his former practice squad QB to replace him.
Yep. They hired Kellen Winslow, who was the team's who was Dallas's.
Matt. What's his
Kellen
name?
Moore.
No. Yeah, hold on. So they fire Scott Linehan. They bring Kellen Moore, who's already a quarterbacks coach with the Cowboys, to take his job. So Kellen Moore is the new offensive coordinator in Dallas. You know who they bring in to be the new quarterbacks coach?
Yep.
Mother effing Kitna.
Yep. So,
man, that Lion histories just keep going and going and going.
And do they still have Rod Marinelli there too?
Yep. Defensive coordinator.
DC. Well, he had the best defense in the NFL this year. I mean, of course.
Oh man. Yeah. So it's not just players; it's coaches as well, or coaches.
It's former head coaching having success as defensive coordinators.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We mentioned something about that on the Facebook page a while ago, and people will take that and they'd be like, "Oh man, look how bad the organization is, and how can we let these guys go?" And I get it.
They were terrible here.
I know they were terrible here, but what that goes on to prove is it's not just one guy. I mean, when you're running an organization like that, and when you're a general manager of an NFL organization, it's not just one guy. You've got to find the right chemistry of guys to bring on and find success with. No one single guy is going to bring you that success. Matt Patricia isn't going to come here from the Patriots and automatically find success with the Lions just because of where he came from. Same thing with Bob Quinn. There may be exceptions to that rule. I don't know if Darth Hoodie goes to the Dolphins. Is he going to be able to turn around the Dolphins? He very well might. Same thing with Tom Brady. If Tom Brady ends up going to, Jacksonville or the Jets, is he going to be able to turn them around? He might. I don't know, but we'll never see that happen. But again, it's just it's a chemistry. It's a chemistry within each organization. It probably transcends to beyond the NFL. You've got to find the right combination of guys in order to make it work. And that's the same thing the Lions have been doing too. And unfortunately, it's been going on for all of our lives, trying to find that right combination. But anyways,
by the way, so before we get off football entirely. Was it incredibly positionist to not name Ryan Allen, the punter for the Patriots, as the player of the game? Like, Jesus Christ, that man pinned those guys inside the 7-yard line a dozen times.
I know. You can't name a punter, though.
You can't do that, and then after, Julian Edelman does what he does.
And after Pat McAfee on Twitter is half-heartedly joking about getting a legal team together and suing the NFL for not even putting them on the fan ballot, punters on the fan ballot. Because Johnny Hecker had a hell of a game, too.
Yeah, he did. What, he ended up have 10 punts?
Ironic, too, that Edelman gets MVP when he's suspended. The same season suspended for PEDs. Whatever.
Hey,
He's fixing that knee. All right.
it's just, I mean, you got to get that disrespect points going because the last time, Tom Brady was suspended for 4 games a year, they won their last Super Bowl.
And he throw like for 20 touchdowns and 1 interception.
Yeah, I still, I mean, that whole just fiasco, the Patriots versus the NFL, that's one of the reasons why I just wanted to see the Patriots win again, just so I had to see
Roger Goodell.
just so I had to see Roger Goodell hand the trophy over once again to Robert Kraft.
All right. On to other embarrassing things in the sports media landscape. Tom Gores finally showed up at a Pistons game this year. Back-to-back, actually. And utterly, drunkenly embarrassed himself all over the place, including interrupting a television interview with Andre Drummond to, kiss him. It was weird.
Did he kiss him or just give him a hug?
I think he might have gave him a hug, but just the camera
kind of like a
looked
man
like he was
kiss
trying
kind
to
of
kiss him
thing,
on the
like-
cheek or something.
Yeah.
It was awkward no matter what.
Shawn and I do
Incredibly
that all
awkward.
the time. I mean, is it really that bad?
So is that what you guys do when I'm not in the studio?
Pretty much. Just wait till you see your seat.
Oh,
come on.
I knew I should have Scotch guarded it.
That's so gross.
Oh, gosh.
Nasty.
You guys are killing me.
Yes.
Anyway, he. God, I'm totally lost my train of thought here.
You're welcome.
Anywho, he embarrasses himself, and find another owner that isn't at games on a regular basis. I mean, I'm not asking for Tom Gores to be Mark Cuban and travel with the team and always have sideline tickets, but
I am.
I'd love that. I'm not against it, but I mean, I'm not expecting him to to Mark Cuban it. But geez Louise, man, the only game you've gone to before this back to back that he went to or whatever was he went to when they played the Clippers in L.A. Other than that, he hasn't been in town to see his team.
And he already lives in L.A., so that's the only reason why he was there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just gonna go because they're here.
Yeah, I mean it's.
At least you didn't get a lovely sound drop from this trip of thank you for thank you for moving the community. Was that was the Rip Hamilton? Was that the Richard Hamilton jersey retirement or whatever? I think that was what it was from.
Oh, when he was drunk off his ass again.
Yeah, I think he was drunk off his ass again. But it's just in post-game availability, they talk to him about the direction of the team. He wants the team to buy at the deadline. It's just Tom, what basketball are you watching? I think they've lost something like 22 of 28. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
They're terrible.
You know what? And you only hope. I mean, you only hope that that's only owner talk, and he wants to, maybe
He's just doing it. He's just doing it for the fans.
Yeah, maybe get fans, more engagement. Like, oh man, maybe they can do something. They're not going to sit here and try to, dump on the season and yada 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 yada. But I mean, if that's what he's really thinking, you're hoping he's not feeding stuff into the front office and.
Yeah, he's not directing.
Yeah.
I mean, he still has an organization without a technical general manager.
Well,
but, I mean, hopefully he's not feeding Ed Stefanski. Oh, by the way, Ed, it's by my directive, you need to go buy at the deadline.
Yeah, because it's not entirely certain whether or not he instructed Stan Van Gundy to go out and get Blake Griffin last year. I mean, that's not totally clear. And if he's serious about this, this buying at the deadline, then I'm more prone to believing that's exactly what he did last year. And
yeah, it was probably Blake's my favorite player. I want him on my team.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Mike Ilitch was famous for that. There was if he really liked a player, money would be no obstacle. I mean, that's a lot of the reason that several players that actually made it to Detroit, like Pudge is an example. He wasn't going to let money get in the way. He wanted Pudge, and the same reason that bad contracts were awarded to Victor Martinez his last contract here. Who the hell in their right mind would give a 35-year-old with bad knees a 4-year contract? Mike Ilitch, because he liked Victor Martinez. He was one of his favorite players.
The only problem with that, though, was a lot of the time when he was dishing out that money with the Red Wings, there wasn't a salary cap in the NHL, and same thing in baseball too. I mean, there's not a salary cap in baseball, so
I mean,
you can get away with that
only
stuff.
Mike Ilitch would go drop at the time, incredibly large sums of money to have like Brett Hull playing his third line, like.
Yeah, that 2002 Red Wings team was really an embarrassment. I mean, that's
it was insane.
that's the definition of an embarrassment of riches. When it, it's just, yeah.
I mean, you had like future Hall of Famers like being DNP coaches' decisions. Like, come on, like not dressing.
Yeah, Robitaille, Fedorov, Hall,
Yeah,
Yzerman, Shanahan.
Luke freaking Robitaille like not playing some nights.
Yeah,
Didn't he end up in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, Robitaille's in the Hall of Fame, I believe. Yep.
Yeah, he was a healthy scratch frequently. Like, come on.
Not only that, I mean, the following season too. I think that's when they had Curtis Joseph, Manny Legacy, and Dominic Hasek. All on their roster, and I think their goaltending salary.
They spent more on goaltending more than like the entire Buffalo Sabres team.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think like their salary was like over $15 million wrapped up in goaltending, and I want to say like the Buffalo Sabres' entire payroll that season was just under that. So yeah, I mean that's obviously, if you're a fan, you love that, and
they won a lot of games.
You won a lot of games. You win a cup, and yeah, I mean, what do fans care? I mean, it's not their money that they're that the owner's spending. Mm-hmm. But I mean, this goes to show like what just the rut that Detroit sports is in now with their ownership. I mean, you have Tom Gores, who knows what he's doing, if he's even sober when he's in the owner's box and running his team from an ownership perspective. You have Martha Ford, golden girling it up at in the owner's box, keeping people around because she thinks they're nice young men.
Jim Caldwell.
Yeah, I like Jim Caldwell. He brings me my Fresca.
Why is it? It's brief sidebar here. Why is it only old people drink Fresca?
That's not true. I got Amanda hooked on Fresca. She likes it.
Oh,
well,
wait.
Shawn, you're weird.
No,
you
Senka. I mean,
Oh,
Senka.
Fresca's good when I used to drink.
Yeah, Senka.
Well, I mean, it's grapefruit soda.
Well, I meant Senka. Senka is what I was talking about.
Sure.
I don't know. He's like, he escorts me.
I need my nap. Can you tuck my feet into my blanket,
Will you
please?
turn Murder, She Wrote on for me?
Yeah, he tapes Matlock for me and
Columbo!
And goes with me to Bill Knapp's. And then you have, Chris Ilitch, coming up with his 5-year plan for the Tigers, and
honestly, it sucks, but I if I have any faith in all the owners, it's going to be Chris Ilitch because
he's not 50.
He's at least acknowledged the way that baseball is now builds rosters and builds organizations, and is at least trying to do it right. That involves, look at the Astros' pain and suffering. They sucked for a decade to get to where they are now. They won a World Series, and they were pretty darn close to getting to another one this year. Like, that's what you got to do to be long-term successful in the MLB. I mean, you have to be bad for 5 to 8 years so you can be good for 5 to 8 years.
I understand that. I just think fans were so...
we're spoiled. Tigers fans are spoiled. It's been a reality check again these last 3 seasons.
Yeah, Mike Ilitch spoiled the fans. I mean, the Tigers fans look and saw they were more the Yankees than the Milwaukee Brewers or the Minnesota Twins. And they liked that, and they should have liked that. That was fun, and you see the structure of baseball with their salaries. I mean, there's no salary cap, like I said before, and you think to yourself, why not? If the Tigers spent like a big league major market club before, why can't they continue doing something like that? And in some sense, they're right.
They've at least acknowledged for now that in order for us to do this right and actually be competitive and not just be chasing here's the ultimate truth in baseball now. Good players, generally speaking, don't make it to free agency. So you're not going to be able to buy a winner. You have to grow your own, and in order to grow your own, you have to be bad for a while. Especially now that there's international free agency spending limits. Like you can't outspend reality in baseball anymore. I mean, you even look at the Yankees. They were smart, and they, even though they were spending on free agency, they were they were spending as much money on international development and finding players as they could, and being aggressive, trading for young prospects. I mean, hell, Gleyber Torres, one of the most youngest, exciting players in the game. They got him as a trade. Oh, by the way, the crazier part is 2 different organizations traded Gleyber Torres. The Yankees are his 3rd team, and he's, 22?
No, you're right about that. You're right about that. The Yankees did take a step back.
They sucked,
yeah.
But while their period of suck,
yeah,
they were also still spending on putting some, bigger name, older players in the seats, on the roster, so people would still show up. But that's their ability to do that. They print money there.
Perhaps
money is no object.
Perhaps a better example of this is the Boston Red Sox, who it seems like literally suck one year.
Boston was
but are in the World Series the very next. Then they suck. Then they're in the World Series again.
In that process of sucking, they literally turned over the entire roster. They hardly have anybody left. I mean, they turned it over, all of it.
Oh yeah, I don't know how much their success is sustainable now. Especially considering Dave Dombrowski's running the show
Dave
there now.
Dombrowski's running it, and all of a sudden you got to pay Xander Bogaerts, Mookie Betts, Andrew Benintendi, and Jackie Bradley Jr. all in the next couple of years, and where are you going to find all that money? But
they have Liverpool money, so I don't know. they might.
The Marlins. Is it the Marlins that have? Is it Manchester United money?
No,
that doesn't matter there.
No, because Derek Jeter owns the Marlins.
Oh, that's right. No, I'm getting the guy who owns. Is it the Atlanta Falcons owns a Premier League team? That's what it is. That's why I'm confusing it.
No, Kroenke owns the Arsenal.
Is that what it is? Okay. All right.
Kroenke owns the Arsenal. Khan in Jacksonville, he owns.
Man City, right?
No, he owns Leicester City.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Yeah. And wait, no, he doesn't own. No,
I swear it's Man City.
No, who does he own? He might own.
Oh, look.
No, the owner of the Buccaneers owns Manchester United, I believe. Who does Tony Khan own?
Shad Khan owns Fulham.
Fulham. Okay, there you go. Yep, Fulham. Yeah, Leicester City. Their owner just died actually in a helicopter.
Oh, the plane crash.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, a helicopter crash a few months ago. The Thai guy who owns that King Power, like the biggest power company in Thailand or something. I gotta get Premier League stuff in there somehow. Come on, let's keep it going. I'm disappointed the Arsenal have been sucking lately.
Yeah, shut up. No one likes you. Anyway, last topic here tonight. We're going to talk about the Red Wings being embarrassing here too, with the jersey retirement of Red Kelly. I'm not going to lie. I remember at the time when they announced it, I was, who the fuck is Red Kelly? But if it turns out, did
they mistake it and say
pretty good player?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, did they mistake it, and did they mean Red Berenson? Is that who they were thinking of?
Yeah, who are you retiring? Who is Red Kelly? And you look at the stats. Good player for a long time. Played for the Red Wings for the majority of his career. Okay, but if he wasn't good enough, he should have been retiring his jersey at some point in the 30 years prior. Why all of a sudden now? And then the whole Sergei Fedorov angle and yada yada, et cetera, et cetera.
Want to get me started, huh?
But they do this jersey retirement ceremony, and man, there was a lot of fans dressed like empty seats there for a jersey retirement. I think there was they showed the shot, of on the video board there of their retirement ceremony rolling through or whatever, and there's 4 people visible in the lower bowl.
Okay, you know what, Dorf?
Embarrassing.
No, it is embarrassing. You're absolutely right. But the other thing, you just mentioned it too a second ago. Anybody worth retiring from that generation
would have happened already.
Yeah, they've already had their number retired. Whether it's Terry Sawchuk, Gordie Howe, Ted Lindsay, or Alex Delvecchio, Sid Abel, all of those guys are retired, and all those guys and all the people that used to watch those guys are in Depends undergarments right now, and they don't even know what hockey is anymore.
Or pine boxes.
Yeah, I mean,
they're Depends or pine boxes.
Yeah, they don't know because they're either dead or they don't even know what hockey is anymore. The people now that want to see number retirements are the people that are the fans that watched Henrik Zetterberg play, Sergei Fedorov play,
Pavel Datsyuk.
Nah, Pavel Datsyuk can leave his number down.
Okay.
All I'm saying is they better retire Sergei's number before fucking Pavel Datsyuk gets his number 13 raised to the rafters. But that's what fans want to see now. I mean, the Red Wings can suck all they want this year, and you would think that a jersey retirement would get some people in the seats. It's not going to be Red Kelly though. Nobody now knows who Red Kelly is or even cares who Red Kelly is. The people now that want to see jersey retirements.
Is the guy even still alive? I'm not.
Yeah,
even
he was
sure.
there.
Is he still alive?
Yeah,
okay.
He's still alive. They want to see, like I said, they want to see Henrik Zetterberg's number retired. They want to see, they wanted to see
Chris
Lidstrom's. Osgood's number, yes. Even though he'll probably never have his number retired by the team, even though I think they should.
Is he going to be another one that will Chris Osgood ever make the Hall of Fame?
I mean, I think he should. I mean, I'm probably a little bit of a homer from that standpoint, though. I mean, you go and look at the guys that have 400 wins or more.
Pretty short list.
It's a short list, and the guys who are on that list
they're all in.
Yeah, are pretty amazing goaltenders. But I mean. That's why, the Red Wings sucks, so the people aren't going to go see it. But again, if Zetterberg's number was getting retired last night, you can sure as hell bet that there was going to be much more. Yeah, there was going to be a lot more people there last night or the other night than what there was for Red Kelly. So, and there's nothing against Red Kelly. The guy had a nice NHL career. Does he deserve to have his number retired by the team? Nah, probably not. No. No, what are you guys gonna?
If he was that deserving, it would have happened 25 years ago.
Exactly. Everybody from that generation that should have had their number retired does have their number retired, and I don't know. Like I said,
is this one better or worse than Vinnie Johnson?
It's better than Vinnie Johnson. The Pistons are in a. Hemisphere. Yeah, the Pistons are in a hemisphere all on their own there. But you know what though, the Pistons have set a standard for themselves, and they set the bar for themselves, and that's fine.
Well, at the same time in basketball, like the bar to get into the Naismith Hall of Fame is like it should be the Naismith Hall of very good, like or pretty good. Like everybody's an NBA Hall of Famer who's worth a damn. Whereas like baseball until recently has been incredibly more exclusive, and rightly so. And I think that's the way it should be done. The NFL Hall of Fame is kind of a mixed bag between, and the NHL Hall of Fame, I don't know enough about the data on guys who are in or out to make an assessment. But people don't retire. Real organizations don't retire Red Kelly's number.
No, and it's weird too, because the Red Wings up until that point, aside too from Fedorov, had a good track record as far as retiring numbers. There was no argument as far as who had their number up there prior to that.
Minus Sergei.
Minus Sergei. The only reason why Red Kelly had his number retired is because they didn't want to retire Fedorov's number. It was too soon to retire.
They needed an event.
Yeah, it was too soon to retire Zetterberg's number, and yes, they needed an event. They needed an event for the dog days of winter in the NHL season, and
to draw people to a game.
Yep, and they had it. so they could sit there and they could sell those little, souvenir, number 4 rafters. Yep, exactly. And I hope it. I hope it fell flat. I hope they fell flat on their face with it, because if you're not retiring 91 after,
Are you hoping to see a bunch of the merchandise they bought and stocked the store with on the shelves at TJ Maxx and Marshalls?
I would love to see that. I'd feel bad for Red Kelly and his family, because that would suck. But again, the number that should have been retired after Lidstrom was
91.
It's not even a debate. You don't even need to think about it. It's 91. It's Fedorov, the best Russian player to ever play in the NHL. And every argument that comes up after that, after I say something like that, is ridiculous. They bring up the Russian goalie, the Russian national goalie. The guy played till he was like.
This is the NA. This is not the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
this is the NHL Hall of Fame.
Not only that, Dorf. I forgot the guy's name. Trykov or something like that. You know how old he played till? He played till he was like 30, 31 years old. And he was drafted.
It was Tretiak.
Tretiak, yes. He played till he was like 30, 31 years old, and that was it. That was it. You can't. I'm sorry. You can't sit here and tell me that guy was better than Fedorov.
Well, he only played till he was 30, 31 years old, because he probably got gulagged for losing to the USA team in the 80s.
Well, I don't know. I think I was reading somewhere saying that that loss, he kind of lost his drive and everything. Something like that, but Fedorov. He was the best. He is the best. He's the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Thank you, Brett the Hitman Hart. But he's better than Ovechkin. He's better than Malkin. He's better than Datsuk. All around player, yes. He's better than all of them. He's better than Bure, better than McGillney. The list goes on. He's better than all of them. And to not have his number hanging from the rafters of Little Caesars Arena, it is a crime. It is an absolute crime, and Chris Ilitch and the Ilitch family should be
embarrassed.
They should be embarrassed. Yeah, they should be heavily criticized for doing what they're doing in all of this, holding a grudge against a guy who wanted to, try to do it on his own. Yes, he ended up taking less money from the Ducks than what the Red Wings are offering. But who cares? The guy wanted to
be his own man.
Yeah, he wanted to be his own man. Is that something that you can respect about the guy, at least? And yeah, it didn't work. You know who would be the first one to admit that it didn't work? It's probably going to be Fedorov. And it's not like he gave a big old middle finger to the Detroit, to the Detroit market and the city. No, he still kept a home here. He still had charities here. He still had a life here. He just didn't play hockey here anymore. And I always hear that too. Well, you know what? He owed everything to the Ilitches. For them, getting him, getting him out of Russia.
They did hire a CIA wet team to get him out. But,
yeah, and you know what? Fedorov gave them everything. He gave them 2 Stanley Cups.
Stanley Cups, yeah.
Yeah, a tremendous amount of success. He paid them back, and he's not a slave to the Ilitches. He's not their calling boy or anything like that. And they know that too. They just have their heads up their asses once again. We saw it with Max Scherzer. We saw it with Sergei Fedorov. They hold that grudge. They hold that 16-year-old girl grudge, and it goes on from there. Do you think Max Scherzer's ever going to be honored by the Tigers ever again? Not that I ever think he maybe should be, but do you think he's ever going to be in those reunions or anything like that? Do you think he's ever going to be invited by the team? Probably not as long as an Ilitch owns the team. He won't be, because he didn't take Daddy Mike's money.
Same thing with Max Scherzer. I bet you, if there's any sort of thing that would involve that family and Max Scherzer's future, I bet you he didn't take my $144 million. Well, the fucking Nationals gave him 210, so
yeah.
144 wasn't enough.
Yeah.
But, yeah, damn. Anything else, guys? Or we want to wrap this up.
Pistons are winning 70-57.
Oh my God! Who the hell cares?
Thank you, Shawn.
I do.
Saying that.
And this has been Sports Desk with Shawn.
Yes.
All right. Anything else, guys?
Nope.
Adam, you queued up to wrap it up?
What was that?
You ready to roll? Ready to wrap it up?
Yeah, hold on a second.
Yeah, we're about to mute you.
Or do I just keep stalling? This is a professional stall. Yada yada. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, that is going to wrap up episode 177 of Motor City Uncut. Thank you for joining us. We thank you for your continued, giving us your time to listen to us bitch and complain about sports ball. For Shawn, Adam, I am Dorf. We will see you all next time.